Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Talking Movies. My name's Josh.
I'm Chris.
I'm Randall.
I'm Clay.
And today we're talking about my pick this week, 1996 Lone Star by John Sayles.
That badge
Didn't come out of a cereal box.
Start digging holes in this county, no telling what'll come up.
You two saw it, didn't you? I'm gonna find out one way or the other.
I just think people in town ought to know the full story on Buddy Deeds.
That makes two of us.
Castle Rock Entertainment presents the new film from acclaimed director John Sayles.
Gotta be careful where you go poking. Who knows what you'll find?
Lone Star.
So just to give a rundown, I had never seen this movie before, but it seems straight up my alley. On the surface, at least, it's a murder mystery about a sheriff in a small town on a border town between Texas and Mexico. Finds a skeleton and a sheriff's badge, and it's a slow-moving mystery of unraveling who this guy was and basically the past of the town. It's an interweaving tapestry of all these characters throughout the town.
Yeah.
And their history, their biases, all that stuff. To me, the movie is about borders, like the borders that we draw, the lines we draw on the sand, and the lines that we cross. It's a physical lines, like crossing the border to Mexico, but also like racial prejudices, lines between fathers and sons, all different, lots of that, all different types of
personal relationships.
Relationships and boundaries that we put up, and the legacies that we build up, and the fallacies of those sort of things. I absolutely loved it. It's not what I thought it was. I may not have chosen it. It's much more of a social political drama than I expected, but I thought it was a fascinating movie personally. Chris, what did you think?
Yeah, same. I mean, I think none of us have seen this, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and it was a little bit on my radar as well. And yeah, it wasn't anything of what I expected to be. I was definitely expecting a little more, twisty, turny, murder. This person shot this, just a little more. It was pretty basic, I guess, for a detective thriller mystery movie. Yeah. But just the way it's done is just done so well that I feel like it would have just kind of collapsed in on itself if it tried to do any more. Because I don't know, some of those movies are to a fault where they have all this stuff going on, but there's plot holes, and this doesn't quite line up with that. And I feel like this does a really good job of just taking all these couple stories and meshing them all together, and it's really well done. And yeah, I loved it as well. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it reminded me of, in some ways, of like I don't know, like Altman movies. I don't know how well y'all know Altman, but like Magnolia is very heavily influenced by Altman. It's like a whole bunch of different stories that all sort of they're separate characters that don't always overlap, but their stories sort of complement and contrast each other in that way.
This is all based in one place, and so when you have that one place,
not
everybody's gonna have the same exact, like you said, they're not going to overlap, but they're all like in the same town. So you're going to be hearing about Joe Schmo over there. And and I know my feelings on Magnolia. I'm not a super big fan of that movie, but regardless of my feelings on it, it's objectively well made. But
it just, in that way, it's not like a it's not like a 3-act structure sort of a movie too. It's just
That's
more
true.
of it's more of a just a collage of different characters that sort of are telling this like bigger story about a town. It's much more about this town and the
Right.
and culture than it is like one particular person.
Well, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was like, full disclosure, I'm going through some personal. Anybody's watching this, I'm going through some personal stuff, so my head's not necessarily where it would be on any other given like week, right? But I still think that regardless of what I'm going through, I think I was going to have a hard time watching this one. It was long, dude. It felt twice as long as it was, man. Like by the end of this movie, I was like, hurry the fuck up. And I was like, because I saw everything coming from a mile and a half away. And I was like, dude, good grief, just say it, man. Just because everybody in this movie is like chilling, ain't nobody got nothing but time. They're all got these long, slow walks. They all talk like this. None of them talk with any urgency.
I know you've been to like small towns though.
Yes. No, it was incredibly accurate to all that. I just thought, man, this is the wrong week for me to have to watch this movie. I think because the cast is fucking bananas, dude. It's such a great cast. Yeah. And like I was watching it with Carissa, and she fell asleep this time. She never falls asleep, bro. She was dead ass, like just out, bro. And so I was like, hey, go to bed. You're fine. I'll finish it. And I finished it. I watched it, but I literally at one point had to pause it, get up and walk around the house because I was like, man, I'm gonna fall asleep watching this movie. And,
there's no real like sense of urgency or like looming threat or anything like that.
Right. And even with like the stuff that's going on, it's exactly like that. It's like it's happening and you're like, they're just talking about it though. It's like none of it really, there's no impending doom on anybody's.
Yeah. It's a bunch of people talking in rooms, basically. It's like, it's a cold case. It's not like there's like, there's somebody around the corner that's gonna
or serial killer, serial killer mystery or anything like that.
It's not that kind of movie.
I do think that the message on it is pretty powerful because it was made in the 90s, like early 90s, because it was like a 95 or 96 release. So I mean, it had to be made before that.
It's 96, yeah. So
you're talking mid 90s on this one. So they're talking about stuff that was way more fresh than it is now. Back in the 90s, that stuff was like very recent. All that kind of behavior shit, it still is now. I feel like we've kind of made a full circle, dude. Like I'm doing.
I was watching a thing like all of this stuff is still just as relevant.
Nothing's changed.
It all feels, and I feel like that's kind of what the movie is about too. Like, because it's like all of this stuff about the past and the present and how all of that sort of mirrors itself. And then we're watching it, like 20 years later, and like, oh, it's still the same.
It's almost 30 years later, man. It's crazy, dude.
Right? Yeah.
Like specifically with the girl's mom, that she's just this bitch about everything, and as the movie goes on, it kind of explains why. And same thing with McConaughey's character. Can't remember the dude's name. Chris Cooper's character.
Buddy.
Yeah, it kind of explains like why they were like all dicks, but. Yeah, it just.
Man, I didn't know. I didn't understand who the fuck was who in this movie. I didn't understand who I was watching half the time. I was so confused.
I will say the cast a couple times.
Yeah, I will say I was thoroughly confused by this movie's directing. Like I just was, or maybe it's the editing. I don't know, but all of a sudden I'm looking at a different character and they're talking about something similar, and I'm like, okay, is it the same guy? Look it up. No, it's not. It's this guy, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, man? But I like the cast in this movie so much that I'm willing to rewatch it solely based on that. When maybe I'm in a little more less heavy headspace, so I can watch a heavy, drawn out, long movie. It was pretty. I like Texas, desert and shit. It's just kind of my whole life's been out here in Texas, so I like that. I was attracted to the scenery in the movie, and then being from Houston, I'm around a lot of Mexican people, and a lot of that culture is wrapped up in this movie too. And and then you get to see stuff that I'm like, oh man, I'm familiar with those people getting fucked that way. I've seen that happen a million times. I don't know it from a firsthand perspective like they do, but I've seen it my whole life, and it's interesting, man, to watch a movie like this, and it's all based. And they're talking about Houston in the movie, and I'm like, man, this feels like It feels weird, man, but like. Carissa made the point that Matthew McConaughey looked like AI because we're so used to seeing him with them face lines, and he looks like he's 12 in this movie.
Well, this is before he got
was
famous. He was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
literally had done like Dazed and Confused and that Texas Chainsaw
Texas Chainsaw, yeah.
sequel. Like he hadn't done anything yet. He was fresh.
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah. I had Megan watch it. I was like, I think you might like this. And she dug it. And I watched the second half again when she watched it. But I really just kind of wanted to see what she thought about the ending.
Yeah.
More than
What's up with
anything.
the ending?
I think the ending thing is the one little kind of thing that throws me off a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense, but I think at the same time is like,
Are they siblings?
really? Yeah.
Yeah. Because
that's what I thought. Dude, I laughed my ass off when that shit happened. I was like, that's what y'all get for being
the guy that she thought was her dad was who Chris Christopherson shoots on the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that was like a year and a half before she was born.
Right.
So yeah, and then you see the picture. You see the picture of her mom and Matthew McConaughey together.
Yeah, dude. I was like, man, that's what y'all get for being happy, man. Go figure, poor bastards. Like, that's
what happened to Buddy? Anybody like? Did he die of old age or something? Or
I don't think they
really didn't explain it.
They don't say what happened to him, but he had a legacy for the town, so he was sheriff for a long time. Like they're like everyone talks, he has this huge legacy of this great guy.
Which one was Buddy?
That's McConaughey.
Okay.
Yeah. At the end, he's like he's already a legend. He can handle it, right? All the truth comes out. Well, his legend is bigger than the truth, maybe.
Well, I'm assuming. Sorry. Yeah, I was assuming that just the son, Chris Cooper's character, took over after he died or something, because they were talking about like it's always been a white person's job as sheriff or whatever. So I'm assuming just he died before the events of the movie, because Chris Cooper's character was living somewhere else, and then he comes back to town,
right,
and takes the job. That's just the way I figured it.
I thought I missed like a definitive. This is what happened to Buddy, and I was like, damn it! The whole movie, I'm like, what happened to Buddy? Did he just die of old age? Did he fade in the distance?
Dude, I felt that same exact way.
Because they made people's like beginnings and endings sort of erroneous. I was kind of like Randy. I was having to look up the cast and be like, okay, Buddy's McConaughey, but where is he? And I liked that a lot, that they didn't overuse the characters. Like everybody had just enough screen time, even though they had some star power. Frances McDormand was in it. She
was going to bring that up.
In that movie, she's sort of like a crush I have, even though she's an old lady. So
where was she even at this movie?
She was a nutty baseball chick.
Football.
Oh shit!
Right?
Football.
Yeah, football fan. The ex-wife.
With the hat on.
Yeah, she's the ex-wife.
Like ADD or ADHD or something.
Oh shit! Okay, I might have to go watch this again before the rental is gone.
She was a cutie though. I mean, she was looking good.
I used to think she was very pretty. I watched Fargo recently, and I thought, man, she was pretty. Like just pretty.
Oh yeah, back in like Blood Simple, Fargo, those days. Yeah, she was good looking for sure.
Yeah. They had a shot of her like countertop, and it had like pill bottles.
Oh yeah,
all around it.
Oh, that's what I like though. Like they don't. There's enough stuff that you get what's happening, but they don't have to spell all of it out. Like I feel like the bad version of this movie. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie Crash, not the Cronenberg movie.
No. Yeah, the one with Matt Dillon.
Yeah, Matt Dillon and all that. Yeah,
that movie sucks dick.
It's horrible, and it won Best Picture. It's a terrible movie. But
I watched that movie a few times because I love the Cronenberg one, and I'm always like, "Oh, let's watch some Crash," and I'm like, "Not this one."
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But that movie is like all of these separate stories that interconnect in these weird ways, and it's all about racial relations, but it sucks. It's like so ham-handed.
Why is that? How'd that one win Best Picture?
I think it was a bad year, but there was definitely better movies.
This one's kind of on the nose in spots. I'm kind of like, come on, and it goes a little deep and hard on some political, avenues.
Yeah, it definitely has. It definitely has a point of view,
and it doesn't really beat around the bush. And then their relationship was tiring to me. Like when they have like this whole lovemaking scene. It's very 90s, where they're just like really heaving and hoeing in each other's faces for 5 minutes. I'm like, dude, fast forward time. But I really thought it was a great movie too, man. I wanted to hate it so bad because it's not really my style. It kind of plods along.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to. Yeah, I was waiting for you to say you hated it.
I was expecting it. I've been anticipating it.
It plods along, but it has good like characters, really good characters. And like I said, I felt like I was like, "Where's McConaughey in this movie?" And then he would show up like once more or twice more briefly.
Right.
And I kept waiting for something big to happen, like a big shootout or something. And I mean, there were some historic cuts. What do you call it? Flash forward, flash backward kind of shit.
Yeah. Well, it's transitions.
Transitions.
That's some of my favorite filmmaking in the movie.
No, I was saying that was effective, but there were action sequences within the transitions that kind of kept it going a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
I was like, yeah, Josh is probably eating this up.
I think it's amazing. Yeah.
Cool.
And for it, I believe it was like possibly the first time that had been done in a movie. Like I think we've seen stuff like that since, where you see characters from past and present sort of like walk in and out of the frame and stuff. But it was sort of a new thing, and I've never seen it done quite that way. It's the fluid shots that move through time is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Chris Christopherson was an asshole. And so I was like, oh, we're going to have a whole movie of this guy treating people like shit, right? And I was kind of like, I'm not in the mood for that. And then they kill him, and I'm like, well, street justice a little bit, but it's done by the cops. And you're like, God, that's a little, I mean, it's justice though, isn't it? I guess, maybe. Right. The guy was out of control, and he got shot in the act. And you don't really find out the final hook till like the end. Like really how it all went down. I don't know, man. It was pretty well done.
It reminds me of like a novel. Like it's got that sort of sprawling narrative, like the way that a novel is, where there's just so many characters. Where most movies like really sort of will like pare that down and try and simplify it. It seems like something that is more expansive, like that you'd find in a novel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, like what I noticed most was it like the fatherhood theme, like the military dad hated his dad and he was tough on his son, and the main sheriff guy, like the whole story was about his dad. And then, so I was kind of like, oh, this is like a pretty deep father, theme to it.
Right.
To your point about legacies and stuff. But,
and it adds, it kind of reflects Chris Cooper's character in a way, because they're both these characters that aren't even sure they want to do their job anymore. Like Cooper is not sure he wants to be the sheriff anymore. Like he's like kind of over it. He's sort of lost the faith in his own position. And the Army colonel is sort of the same way. Like that's that whole storyline with the
he's so hypocritical, man.
Exactly. And it adds on the his son. Like they have that conversation towards the end where he's like, you don't have to do what I do. Like in the way that Chris Cooper like went straight into his dad's job and took up the mantle. I think he's looking at it and being like, you don't have to do that,
Yeah.
And then there's that racial theme there, which was, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was the only like section of the movie I didn't really like too much. I mean, I get its purpose. Like you said, it's, setting up the relationship between the father and the grandfather, I guess. And that whole side of the flashback scenes. Right. But I think they just go into it a little bit too much there's like a shooting in the beginning, and then, the chick that was at the club is getting investigated. And I mean, again, I get its purpose because it's kind of setting up his like realization that he's being a little too heavy-handed and too much of a hard ass. But that was the only one I didn't really care as much. I got sucked into the other storyline like almost immediately, and that one, I just felt like that one kind of drug, and then it didn't really go anywhere. I mean, other than him like like being cool with his son, I guess, in that last
Right.
little scene, and then
Yeah, it doesn't have the narrative
yeah,
thrust.
and then
Yeah, I
and he,
agree.
and, he,
I'm
and, he,
gonna
and he realizes his mother was like not telling him stuff about his dad, and his dad, but again, I was like, I don't care.
I'm gonna pull a Randy here and say that an improvement would have been if his son was like a hardcore gangbanger. It would have been very 90s, and then his son, the military dad's son, would have been like out of control. He could have been the one who shot the guy in the bar, in his dad's bar. Ooh.
Yeah, there's something
Man,
there.
I'm
That
not
would've been
gonna
very 90s.
elaborate on it because I don't care, but I'm not trying to like argue about it. I'm pretty shocked that y'all like this movie that much. It was a chore to get through, man. Like it was just too slow for me. I said I do think that there might be a time and place where I like it more. But I'm sitting here listening and I'm just like shocked. I'm like, damn, dude, I was pretty bored through this whole movie. Like,
Yeah,
but I don't watch the stuff through the same lens that y'all watch it through. So like the stuff that you appreciated, like I saw it, it's just not the kind of thing that I go, oh, that's cool, and I won't even recognize it half the time.
Yeah.
So like, so there's a part of me that I'm like, yeah, well, I just didn't get all the shit you got out of it. If I did, I probably would have been super stoked, right? But I like the cat. I'm not gonna keep saying it. The cast is so fucking. I appreciate it so much that I'm like, yeah, it's worth watching just for these people, though. I mean, there's so many good actors in this movie. There's
Right.
people that aren't big names that I recognize. That I was like, oh, that guy's awesome. Oh, this dude's awesome. Oh, I know this guy. Almost everybody in the whole movie is people that I recognize. It was kind of wild, actually.
Yeah.
It's not very often that I see a movie of this kind of cast where I know almost everybody in it.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's good acting. Like they all have interesting roles and they all have something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dug it. Like you said, it wasn't what I was expecting either. I was expecting something a little more, thrillery.
Yeah, I was expecting more of a genre movie, not a drama. But
and I think it was billed as like not billed, but like saw it on like modern like neo noir lists and stuff like that.
neo westerns and
Yeah,
stuff.
and I really didn't
Well,
get that
the
out
thing
of it.
says Western crime thriller on the thing where I watched it. So like I was expecting it to be a little faster paced. But this is one of those things that like I was expecting that. So since I didn't get it, I was a little bit like, ugh. And I'm also dealing with a bunch of bullshit. So I was like, ugh. So like on a day where I kind of want something a little more calm, this could be one. And I don't really know what Krista thought. It was kind of late in the evening for her. She's starting to go to bed a little earlier. So if she really enjoyed it, then I'd like to give her another watch with her at some point. But
man, I stopped it 3 times in one night, and
it was hard. It was a long time.
There was 30 minutes. Like I sat down. I was like, all right, one last push. Like I'm going to finish this movie tonight. And I started. I was like, 45 more minutes. I was like, damn, I got to figure out how to shave 10 or 15 off. But I didn't, man. And that was what surprised me is I started watching it and I found myself really captivated by the story. To where I, like I said, I wanted to not like it. It wasn't, I'm kind of like you. It wasn't quite fast paced enough for me. It didn't keep my attention. I like a little more juice in there. That's, some kind of flair. I like the hook at the end where they ended up being, semi-related. And then I was like, dude, you can't be, bumping anymore. You're related. And they were kind of like, we don't care. And I was like, all right.
Or he was more like, hold on, girl, you're tripping. And she's like,
no, I think they were holding hands at the end. I'm pretty sure it was.
I think
they some old boy type shit. All right, I'm a little more in now.
Kind of,
Texas,
yeah. I don't know how much it was intended, but I think they were both like, I don't know. Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, they already closed the deal about 50 times.
The last line of the movie is "Forget the Alamo," which is an inversion of "Remember the Alamo," right? Which is all about drawing the line in the sand. So it's literally like we're crossing the line, like what I said. The borders.
Go ahead.
The borders that we draw, the lines we draw and the lines we cross and all those things, that's what it is,
He was fully ready to throw his dad under the bus too. He was like, my dad committed murder, right? And then all of a sudden he backed off of that real hard. He was kind of like, okay, well,
that's the whole movie. His entire goal through the entire movie, all of these different little, interrogations he has with these people, these one scene sequences are all like him trying to discover the evil in his father. Like
he's holding the grudge for, you know, what he did when they were dating earlier in the flashbacks.
right.
So he just he was automatically every time was just trying to pin something on him.
Right. And I guess the reason he didn't want them to be together was because they were related. Yeah. Not because he's a racist, because they were related.
Why didn't he just tell him though? Don't go after your sister. Could have just saved him all the time and trouble.
He didn't want to have to watch him go, but I want to.
Well, because he didn't want to admit that he had an affair. That's why.
Yeah.
You know. That's the reason.
That's part of it too, yeah.
Crossing the line.
He didn't like his dad for that reason either.
Yeah.
And I think like he ended up having to compromise some of his lines in the sand. He was saying, well, I'm going to be with this girl, you know, and that's, though it was a flexible decision, he was still compromising probably a little bit of the black and white life that he finds easy. He was like, okay, now I'm in the gray area.
Absolutely. I think that's all baked in. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. You froze, Clay. I thought he had like a realization there for a second.
He did. That was awesome.
But no, he was just frozen.
I looked over and
you're good now.
Yeah, you're back. Anyways,
I needed that shit, dude.
Frozen in shock.
Was my frozen face funny?
It wasn't too bad.
No, it was.
But it was a little.
No, but when I realized it made me laugh because it was like not real animated, but it was just enough for me to not realize you were frozen until Josh said it, and then that's when I was like, "Oh shit, that makes more sense."
Yeah. I was waiting for him to say something because I thought he had had an epiphany or something for a second.
Yeah,
struck by lightning.
Yeah, like frozen place. Like, wait, I have to
by this thought.
Just realize.
Did you know what's weird about this movie is that I just had I'm working on like a little video on the Punk Rock Review about this band called Reagan Youth. And they came around in 1980, and one of their guitar player just passed away the other day.
I saw that.
A long fight with cancer, and you know, I didn't know a ton about that band, so I was like, let me do a little video on them, talking about them. And it never occurred to me that like they were called Reagan Youth because they were around in the Reagan era, and like it was a play on words, you know, like Hitler Youth and shit. It was ironic. It was all done with what's it called? When you do something in jest and it's like you use
satire.
It was all satirical. Thank you. And I thought,
so
man,
they don't like Reagan.
They love him.
super punk rock
Reagan. They don't not big fans of Reagan. But I thought, man, you could really just take Reagan out and put Trump in there, and it's exactly the same kind of shit now that it was happening in the 80s. It's really weird, but this movie was doing the same stuff. Like I kept watching the movie thinking like, damn, it feels exactly. And then when I was doing the video stuff, I was like, damn, It feels like that movie. So like, you know, it is a relevant.
I think it's
movie,
the other way around because Reagan was senile and losing his mind, and they were propping him up. But now it's the Democrats that are senile. You know, they're propping. So yeah.
Well, I was just talking about like
been Biden
policies and like fucking far right type shit. But
we need a Biden youth.
we fucking have one. They're a bunch of morons, but you know, whatever. This whole
it's all
the whole shit. Yeah, the whole shit is a big fucking mess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Good movie.
Yeah, solid.
So this had a lot of immigration talk in it too. No, I don't want to go there.
They kept talking about this wall.
Good thing they built that wall finally.
Hey, let's cross the Rio Grande with our baby in our arms. That sounds like a great idea.
Oof.
I was like, come on now. And then she twists her ankle on a rock.
That rock was like, got her.
Reagan put it there.
Yeah, Reagan was hiding in the water.
Dude, I watched so many movies this week that I can't even begin to tell you how many I watched because I've had a whole lot of time.
I wish you'd have watched that damn Dinner in America, but I know you didn't.
What was it?
Never mind.
Dude, I'm in a
We'll
I
get
was
him
in a
next time.
I was in a fog for the past few days, but I watched the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy in one sit, dude.
Oh wow.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
watched
That's
like
it.
I sat
That's
there
heavy.
for the entire I couldn't sleep the other night. Like I was like bad. I couldn't sleep at all. And I started it at like 2 a.m. and like noon rolled around and I'm still sitting in my chair and I was like, holy fuck.
Extended editions or regular editions?
Regular.
Okay.
I think I don't know.
A
They
little
were like
better.
3 hours long. It was fucking
Well, I mean, yeah, the
ridiculous.
regulars
Yeah.
are 3. I think the extendeds are like 3.5, 3:45 or something like
So
that.
ridiculous.
Do you have
I'll
any
be
Return of the
honest.
King, I
you
think it's
with-
4.
Yeah.
Do you have any
probably.
pictures of you with Q-tips in your noses and ears?
You were the Clockwork Orange thing, and Carissa had you in the Clockwork Orange chair with your eyes open, just trying to snap you out of it.
I was in such a weird funk, dude, that I just kept watching movies. Like I didn't even hit what happened was I went to go watch the first one thinking I'd fall asleep, and it was on like Max or some shit. So when it got done playing it, it just played the second one, and then I was like, fuck it, whatever, and then it kept going. And I watched Civil War finally. That movie was amazing. At least I thought it was.
I still have to watch it. It's
bro,
that's pretty good.
So much better than I was thinking it was going to be. I was like, all right, this is going to be stupid. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, that was incredibly fucking like moving, honestly. Like,
yeah,
there's, I relate to a lot of that being just a punk rock guy. Like, I feel like the situation I'm in right now is all because of that kind of same kind of thought, like be a fucking sheep or a robot or we're going to kick you to the curb. And it's like, damn, I was trying, dude. Like, goddamn, I was here every day. What are you doing? But, yeah.
Well, got mixed reviews when it came out, but I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't like, I mean, I love Alice Garland's or most of Alice Garland's other movies, so it's not exactly what I would want from Alex Garland, but it was a solid movie.
I thought it was awesome. Yeah, I waited long enough to watch it, which I think is good because I think had I gotten in there when all the hype was happening, I might have not liked it as much, but I was able to just kind of like, oh, it's on. Let me just watch that. And then I just checked it out, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. That's the best movie I've seen in a while, past couple weeks.
Yeah, I watched Oddity.
Yeah,
I think Clay, you watched it? I think.
Yeah.
It was decent.
It's pretty okay. Yeah.
It wasn't really what I was expecting
Shudder?
either. I just rented it.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be on Shudder. Now that you say that, but
it's on Shudder now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I don't know. It led me wanting more. Thought it was kind of basic as well, but I don't know. It just didn't quite get there for me fully. But it was pretty good. I did like it.
It did the trick.
Yeah, it's about a chick that like gets murdered in the very beginning, and like the sister comes to live with the husband and his new girlfriend, and the sister is just kind of weird, and it gets kind of supernatural and stuff, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't enough there, I thought, because I saw it getting like great reviews. If it came out around the same time as like Long Legs, and like everybody I seen that was talking crap about Long Legs like loved Oddity.
Okay, so it is the movie I thought it was then. Okay, yeah. I saw
it's got like a weird, like it's like a wooden, like monstery looking kind of dude. Yeah. That was all right.
Okay. I was kind of on the fence about it just based on reactions, but
I feel like I'm probably gonna like it a lot.
It's worth watching.
Yeah. Okay. I'll throw it on one of these days. I didn't get to watch too much this week. I did watch Grizzly Man.
Oh, yeah.
You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, the Werner Herzog documentary. That was a blast. Just absolutely bonkers. Just guy goes in the woods and lives with the grizzly bears and then gets eaten by them. But you don't see that. You don't see it though because he wasn't filming when the attack happened. He was filming his entire like stay out in the woods and just like all this. He was just out of his mind. Loves the bears, but yeah, at the end of the movie, huh?
How bad do they eat him? Like, if a bear eats you, is it like really skin and bone, like bones afterwards, or they just get the good parts?
They didn't. I mean, they didn't really
Mess
they-
around in your guts a little, and then like,
Yeah,
okay,
I don't
we're good.
I don't know if they really ate him. I think they more just like he got mauled at some point, and
I
they had enough
imagine
of
they
his
just
shit.
go for your ass cheeks a little bit because they're fleshy.
I
Maybe.
don't know. Because at one point he finds a bear skull or something, and they had like eaten one of their young because they were starving. So I don't know. They don't really explain.
So
How
dude
much?
goes to live with some starving ass bears.
Yes.
Woo.
You should watch it, dude. It's freaking wild. Just like it's an experience.
Maybe they did pick their teeth with his bones.
Yeah.
Werner Herzog's a fucking weird guy.
He
is
is.
a weird
He is.
guy.
And he narrates the entire movie.
Oh,
So
God.
I'm out.
that's what was making me laugh even more. It's just like because he's so dry. He's got that German accent, so everything's like so matter.
Oh, he
of fact
speaks
about
with a
it.
German accent. That's right. No, I'll back in. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah,
out.
Randy's double out,
Yeah,
triple out. Was this on something?
I was sitting on the back porch and I put on like Pluto TV.
Okay, I was wondering like
That came
what made you. It was like kind of random, like what 2000,
Random Dave Werner.
like 2005 or something like that. This came out.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
like they have all those channels on Pluto
Yeah.
TV, and it was like I was flipping through, and it was a documentary channel, and I was like, "Oh, I've heard about this. It's insane." I just got sucked in.
That's awesome. That's what happened with me and Little Dieter Needs to Fly. I turned that thing on and I was like, what in the world? I can't remember specifically what it was about, but it's like anyway, I'll have to watch it again. It's been a little while, but
Is that a Herzog too? Okay.
I remember I was like, what is this? And I started it 3 minutes in. I was like, oh my God, I can't turn it off.
Right.
And then I was kind of like, why did I watch that?
But it's so strange that you just like you can't look away from it, right? That's kind of how I felt. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Randy, you want to throw out your pick for next week?
Yeah, I was just looking up I can't remember the director's name, but it's the person that just did what's that movie? Substance. It's the first film by that director called Revenge. 2017.
Yeah, it's on Shudder.
I think it's French. But
yeah, I think it's got quite a bit of like English language, but I think it's like kind of like
it don't even need it, bro. You can basically mute this movie and watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but like second half, yeah. But do what, Hugh?
It's been a good long while since I watched this. I'm kind of excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. It's been a hot minute. This is the very first like horror movie that Carissa ever watched with me, ever.
Yeah. I remember you bringing it up at the shop one time, like way back in the day. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember you finding this movie. I think Shudder had probably just come out, and
yeah,
found this, and you were talking it up back then. I never got around to it.
I remember I watched it back then, and I didn't really like it, but I don't really think I got what it was trying to do.
No,
And then-
you've watched so much more of this kind of stuff since then, dude. Your whole entire perspective might change, and you may still not like it. Who knows, man?
Well, I think that I didn't respond to the fact that it feels like exploitation movie. Like it feels very exploitative. Like it's a rape revenge movie. So
Right.
like, it's very leering for like the first like half of the movie, and I was just like, I don't like this, and then it just kind of goes nuts, you know. But it wasn't really. I wasn't really getting what it was doing, and I think seeing more of that sort of stuff and seeing the substance, I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what this director does now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while. I've been wanting to watch it. I wanted an excuse to sit down and watch it. This gives me a pretty good reason. Plus, that other movie just came out, so it might get a little bit more hits on your channel from being of that same director. But
yeah, no, I was planning to rewatch it anyway because I like the substance so much. So perfect.
Yep.
Good pick.
Awesome, dude.
All right.
Are we watching something this Saturday or no?
Oh, for the movie stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm getting the oh my god, I just blanked on the name. I just got the Yeah, we were talking about Tetsuo, and maybe also I'm getting the Hitcher 4K, the box set, so I thought maybe we could throw that on.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we can
just
figure
ordered
it
that
out.
too.
Yeah.
I just ordered that too because I don't have any of my own ideas. I just use yours. I found it cheap. I was like, oh shit, it's out of print and it's sold out everywhere, and people want like $100 for it on eBay.
Yeah, second site, right?
Yeah.
I think it was like Grindhouse Video or something that I
Yeah, the
found.
label's it's a UK label, second site.
Yeah.
I have a few other things, so I was thinking about picking it up anyway, just because I have a few other things.
I'll send you where I bought it from, but there were a couple left for regular price, and I was like, dude,
Okay.
I do like that movie, so I would be really excited to watch old Rutger Hauer. He's one of my heroes.
Yeah, I've never seen it, so
Fuck, that's wild.
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna blow your hair back though.
No. I mean, it looks like just a good, fun movie. So I'm not expecting a masterpiece. It just like
Yeah, it'd be kind of good to watch on that big ass screen of yours.
Oh, you know what? I've
Fun.
actually seen the remake.
I like the remake.
it's okay.
With Sean Bean.
Yeah.
I remember I saw that in the theater when it came out. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. It's cool.
Remake's all right. It's not as good as the original, but it's all right.
I'm sure. Yeah.
They got to the remake on that one before the remake was just like this big fucking fart in a bag, Like it wasn't quite. Remakes weren't quite as big a deal back then, like they are now.
I feel like that was right. I feel like that was right it was like early 2000s or something.
Right when they broke wind into that bag, I guess.
Right. Yeah. The wind was filling up the bag. But that's when they were doing all those J-horror remakes and stuff. Like, right around that
That's
time.
true.
Ring, Grudge, and all that.
Yeah.
Ringo, Reeve 2.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. The bag is full.
Fucking fart bags. Oh man.
All right, guys. Revenge next week.
Yep. Let's go.
Like a wet fart bag.